Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Chronicle, where, believe it or not, after about 7 weeks, I did my dailies. Okay? There's one check mark on there. You can't see it, but there's a check mark on there because this week I actually did all of my dailies, which is pretty miraculous, especially because I almost failed again. I was this close, right? It was harder than it should have been because I made it harder than on accident. You know how it goes. But I did it. Um, Goals. Uh, yeah. So I think the only one I technically completed, and that's technically, is the daily's first goal. Which I can't even remember if I like prioritized this or not. Um, I mean, I technically already completed it last week, so I wasn't super worried about it. Also, uh, that's not one of the goals. But Bones was here earlier this week, and she just drew this on a sticky note and then put it on my wall. Um, oh yeah, speaking of Bones, was it Bones and Pouty actually? They had both been in my room. Was it Pouty was here last week, I think, and then Bones was here earlier this week, and they both saw the sticky notes. I'm pretty sure I talked about this, or maybe I just thought about it. They both saw the sticky notes. Bones didn't question them at all, actually, which I thought was rather odd. Um, and Pouty did, but I just played dumb until she stopped. I really thought she would not, and then she would figure out. Also, neither of them questioned the ring light. Pretty sure I did talk about this, at least with Pouty. Um, but yeah, so I would have thought that I gained two more like viewers on the Chronicle. Not that it's a problem, right? Whether I have or have viewers is not a problem. But it's just I would have thought, you know, they would have been like, what's with that? What's up with that? And of course, one of them did until I kind of just acted dumb until they stopped. Which is partially my bad, because like I've said before, the Chronicle is not a secret. Oh, speaking of that, did one of you guys like tell people about me or something? Because when I uploaded last week's video, I noticed that the one before it had 30 views, which in internet terms is not a lot at all. It's hardly anything, it's practically nothing. But for this, 30 views is a lot because that's like three times more than usual. I didn't check what last week's was at. Um, but when I went to upload last week's, it was at 30. And I'm like, why? Why is there 30? I think the title for it was I finally went to the doctor. So maybe that kind of like clickbaited enough people that the viewership spiked. But like I think the highest watched video was 15 views before that. So why is there so many views? And did one of you guys do it? Because I feel like that's very possible. I suspect it was my mom. Not that it's an issue, but I think she was like, "Oh, hey, look at my son. Look, he's on YouTube. Look at him," which is fine, like I said. But it's just like it was a surprise when I looked at there and I saw 30 views. Okay, continuing on the goals. Guitar catch up. I did do that. I'm doing that. Still working on that. Dailies checked for this week. Handstand in progress. I tried several more times. It's taking how many weeks? Technically, like six are on there. But like I don't really count this week and last week because I was sick for most of last week and a little bit for this week. So I only practiced like one time. And also the way that I'm doing it is I'm literally just trying to do a handstand. Like I'm just full sending trying to do a handstand. And I'll do that until I get tired, and that's how I practice. So maybe that's why it's taken so long. The workout goal is still frozen. I actually put a question mark on it because I don't really know. I'll talk about that in a second. The yap session I did not do. Sorry, Dad. The nap goal I put another question mark on because I'm still not sure whether I want to do that. The whistle goal is in progress. Let me see if I can get it. Hold on. Gotta wet my lips. Okay, ready? Hold on. Stop. Look. Don't look away. Look away. Don't look away. Hold on. Okay, ready? Oh no. Hold on. You see, like it's getting there. Like it's nowhere near there, but it is on its way to there, and it's gotten further than where it was last week. It's just there's a little bit more whistle sound in there whenever I try. I also keep staring at this spot on my forehead. I think it's a bug bite. I don't think it's like a zit or anything. But yeah, I don't know what that is. Anyway, whistle goals in progress. The resin goal is still in progress, which is really weird because at some point my coworker said I'll have it to you next week. I think that was like 4 weeks ago at this point. And then the November goal for the audition portfolio. I guess I am technically making progress on that. And then the November goal or the winter goal to roast an apple over fire. Still got plenty of time for that. I haven't had any fires recently. Um, I was actually thinking for my birthday. My dad, as you guys know, I've been helping my dad with yard work because he's remodeling his backyard. And as I'm sure some of you know, those of you who know me personally, I liked having fires with my friends a lot. I would do it at my house, their house, a park that was 15 minutes away. Really liked having fires with my friends. My dad was like, "Oh, we're gonna have a fire pit by Thanksgiving." Um, and I didn't tell him that I thought that was like not ridiculous, but like a lofty, maybe unrealistic goal. Not that I'm doubting him, but I'm like, ain't no way you got a fire pit by Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving's like next week. And I guess he is doing his little stone wall thing, and he's got the brick laid, but it's not done. So in my head, I pretty much said, yeah, right. But like, I will be genuinely impressed if he can get that fire pit up by Thanksgiving. All of that to say, I liked having fires with my friends. I was thinking for my birthday to have a fire at that fire pit in his backyard with some of my friends. But like realistically, that probably won't work. So I'd kind of scrap that idea. Anyway, goals. Okay, yeah. So the workout goal is still frozen, because I don't know where I want to go with my workouts really. I would like to go back to my old calisthenic routine. Um, Although I think I still struggle to do what I used to do. Um, and I think it might be because of like a cardio related thing. Because when I was very active in the gym, I was also doing cardio at least once a week. I would do bike rides. And, I took a break. Took a big break from working out. Now I'm back, and now I can't quite do what I used to do. And I'm like, oh, is it because like my stomach problem got worse, or am I not sleeping or not eating enough? Right? Because it's just like I pretty much just can't do it. I'll get super, super I will get like I am going to pass out levels of lightheaded when I try to do my usual workout. And I want to get back to that, I think, ideally, just because it's like convenient. Either I need to do that, or I need to get into weights, or I need to do a little bit more research to try and change my calisthenic routine. Honestly, so I guess I just need to figure out what I need to do with that goal. Um, what else? I think that's all the goals. I was thinking, like, way back towards the start of the Chronicle, there were a few episodes that were, like, really short. And I think maybe, like, literally one of them might have been shorter than 10 minutes. And I was like, man, what, like, happened? I guess I could go check. Um, and, like, I know these ones have been dragging on for, like, 30, 40 minutes, which, like, I'm fine with, honestly. Because, like, I know that if I were, this is kind of the content that I would like to watch. Like, if one of my friends did this, and they were making 30 to 40 minute videos of just them talking. I think that would be cool. I think I would enjoy that. So I was like, all right. I mean, I might as well go for 30 minutes. Try not to. Like I said, I do usually like run overtime and then like do this for longer than I'm supposed to. I'm actually doing this earlier than usual, so that I can go to bed sooner. Cause holy moly, am I tired. Okay. I'm also a little congested. I don't know if you guys can tell, but that's like the only symptom that I have left from being sick, because I'm just congested now. Not the worst. Could be better. Um, and I think with all the goals out of the way. Oh yeah, I've also noticed that I have not had as many. And I was like, why is that? So I do have the daily goals, which, and like I've talked about this before, the daily goals I do daily, but they will end eventually, right? Like I'll probably just stop taking the honey, I'll stop eating the apple, I'll finish the handwriting book, and then I finished the Action Bible already. My day planner, which is right here under my journal, that's only got two more pages left, and then it's done. So like the daily goals will eventually end. But I was like, why am I not making more goals, like I used to? And it's like partially because I have those daily goals. Partially because like it's not that I've done everything, but it's like I would just like think of stuff to do, and now I kind of can't really think of much to do. I know there's plenty to do on Earth. It's just I need to know like I guess I just need to decide to do it, or like find stuff to do. I still think about maybe dream is the right word, of making a lasagna. I don't know why that's a goal of mine. It's been in my head for years because I just think making a lasagna would be really hard, but it would also be really rewarding if done right. But like with cooking, not always rewarding, especially when you're bad at it, like me. Kind of just makes you feel worse, and like you wasted all your time, and now you're just hungry and you have burnt food in front of you. Um, but yeah, so I need to get back into goals. I guess I do have the big overarching goal of college, which I actually didn't make much progress on this week. Like I said, I did technically make progress because I do have the MIDI figured out now. And I ordered a book of sheet music uh, so that I could read it because I may or may not be asked to read sheet music by sight during my audition. I really gotta check on that, man. Especially because, like, something is due by December 1st, and there's more stuff due by December 15th. I think. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if I need to have my portfolio submitted by then. I forgot. I'm pretty sure I looked into it at least once. I really should look into it more. Part of it is just like, I'm gonna be honest, I am afraid. Um, like, was it? I don't know if, I'm pretty sure this is a quote from somewhere, but it's like, I pity the fool that never even tried. And like, yeah, I'm just kind of afraid to try because like, failure's scary and all. But it's like the session musician dream is a dream. Like I will be, I think, genuinely surprised if I get there, because I don't know if I'm gonna get into college. I am going to keep trying. I don't know what I need to do. I need to figure that out. And then once I'm in college, I need to actually, do college. I need to keep my grades up. I need to pass, whatever. And then after that, I need to then find, I guess, a studio. I hadn't gotten that far, honestly, if I'm being quite honest. But I think it's better to do something than nothing, because I know I'll feel awful if I do nothing. But I can do a lot of things and then, not feel awful, uh, essentially. So yeah, um, that's the progress that I made on the college goal. Was I ordered some sheet music that I can read by sight. I did text my stepmom, and I was like, hey, because her mom lives with my dad. I was like, hey, does your mom have sheet music books? Because I know she's offered some to me in the past, and I was like, yeah, no thanks. I didn't really want them, but now I need them. I texted her, my stepmom. She left me undelivered for several days. I followed up. She was like, yeah, I'll see. I'll take a look or whatever. And that was, oh, I think like last week. Um, so I just was like, okay, I'll just order my own because I don't really care that much. And also, I like the music that is in that book that I ordered. Okay, time for the journal, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna try and keep this short, which I know I say every week, but whatever. Okay, Monday, in quotes, because it was written at 12:09 a.m. Today was supposed to be so much fun, but it just wasn't. The quote is, at least I'm off tomorrow. And then there's another quote that I retroactively added, which says, you have a great day. Yeah, so Monday after work, I was going to drink and watch a movie with Bones. Now, we did do all of that. However, I was fighting to not throw up pretty much the whole time because of my stomach problem. Like I was like kind of teetering on the edge of like throwing up and not. Um, so yeah, that was just a really kind of a bad time if I'm being honest. And also like I was gonna tell her, but I don't know if she knows already, because I know like we did a lot of lore dumping earlier in our friendship when we would play Minecraft together, and I was like, did I tell her about my stomach problem during that? Because I know most actually wait, is it most of my friends? Hold on, how many of my friends know? Three? It might just be three, maybe her, four if you count her, but I don't know if she knows or not. So like I was gonna tell her, because like I think somehow letting her know that would make me feel better. I'm not entirely sure. That's just a feeling. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of what I did on Monday. I got back from work. I took a shower. All right, I cleaned up a little bit. And then actually, she got there in like almost an entire hour early while I was in the shower, which was like kind of annoying because like I didn't have as much time to clean up. Um, and then I was, trying not to throw up the whole time. And what else? Monday. I think that was kind of it. Like I said, she was in my room. And I like that, like, Bones is like, I don't know if it counts as curious or if it's more like nosy, but she was just like looking around my room, which is kind of exactly what I want my friends to do while they're here. Because I feel like you can, like, kind of learn stuff about me. Like, you can see my closet. I like leaving my closet open because then you can just see what kind of clothes I wear. Like, you can kind of already see that, from the clothes that I wear. But, like, you can see more, with the closet open. So it's like, oh, what kind of clothes does he like? Right? You can see the piano in the back there. You can see there is board games actually right here. There's board games. Then there's like my Switch. There's these books. And then just off camera, I've got my shelf. Actually, she knew what Go-Go's were. I'm pretty sure I've talked about Go-Go's before, maybe once or twice. They're just a little toy kind of thing, kind of like what is it? Like I think Jacks, like yeah, like Jacks, or like they're just like little knickknacks kind of that you can play with. And apparently she had some when she was younger, and I was like, that's cool because I've hardly met anyone who knew what Go-Go's were. But yeah, I keep them on my shelf, and she was like, oh my gosh, are these Go-Go's? And I was like, yeah. Anyway, the quote that I retroactively added was because the pizza guy just seemed like super nice because we did order pizza for the movie. Tuesday. Today I mostly just slept and gamed. I got some Dayquil and NyQuil, so hopefully I'll be better in the morning. And the quote is that spelled wrong? Yeah, there is a typo in there. Man. There must have been melatonin in that NyQuil, is what the quote was, because I was super tired while writing this. Yeah, so I took Tuesday off, because like I said, I was still sick, and I've just got the congestion left over now. So I took Tuesday off because I felt awful from the night before, from Monday. Like I said, super nauseous and everything. Um, so I took Tuesday off, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get some meds, try and feel better. I mean, kind of made me feel better. Um, yeah, I don't think anything eventful really happened. I just slept and gamed on Tuesday. Wednesday, long entry, holy moly. I woke up and went straight to my ultrasound today. It was pretty cool. I hope they found out what's wrong with me. After that, I went straight to work, and then after work, I went to Katana's so that we could watch Over the Garden Wall with Pouty and some of her mutual friends. It was fun, but I was fairly nauseous the whole time. Now I'm here, and I did my dailies. There's two quotes. One of them is, "Do I look gay?" And then the other one is, "Are you playing Apple Maps?" Yeah, so Wednesday, woke up, ate nothing, because that's what you were supposed to do. Went straight to the ultrasound. Ultrasound went good. I got the results back, like yesterday. I'll get to that. Actually, I guess now would be a fine time to talk about it. Let me finish the day. Okay, yeah, so then after that, I went to work. After work, I went to Katana's house to watch Over the Garden Wall, which is a cartoon, kind of little short animated series, 10 episodes, 10 minutes each on Cartoon Network. And it's like, it is a kid's show, but like the way it was written, it was pretty good if I'm being honest, quite entertaining. And it's like, I honestly, yeah, I just really like the writing, the characters a little bit too, and I just like the things that they did in the show. Like I said, it is a kid's show, but it can still hold your attention pretty well, even if you're not a kid. And was it Pouty? I think she said she and her boyfriend usually watch that each year. And then she was like, "Oh, do you want to watch it?" And I was like, "Sure." Because was it? Okay, wait. Penguin, get this. Listen up. Lock in for like 2 seconds. Listen, I'm changing Penguin's name to Surfer Girl, right? As in surfer, as in surfing, as in waves. Because I never really liked the nickname Penguin because it like referred to that obscure inside joke, and like I feel like if anyone's nickname were Penguin, they would just be a little bit upset. Like if my nickname were Penguin, I would probably be confused. Like why is my nickname Penguin? And I didn't want to like I know that she doesn't actually watch this. But like I didn't want her to like find out and be like I just didn't want her to be upset by her name being Penguin. And also, like I said, I was never settled on it when I first made it. So now her nickname is Surfer Girl. Surfer Girl, all that to say, Surfer Girl had also wanted to watch Over the Garden Wall. She wanted to show that to me. She was like, "This show's really cool. You want to watch it?" I was like, "Sure." We never got around to it because she's chronically busy. Anyway, watched Over the Garden Wall with Pouty and Katana and her mutual friends. I was nauseous. I had a little popcorn. The quote, "Do I look gay?" I think Bones genuinely thought I was gay the day before. She was like, "You should let me pierce your ears," and I said, "Nah, nah, I'm not like that." And she was like, "You're not gay?" And I was like, "No, believe it or not, I'm not gay. Sorry, guys." Uh, and then the quote, "Are you playing Apple Maps?" Really funny. One of her mutual friends was playing Balatro on his phone. It's a roguelike video game based on gambling. Sounds weird. I've heard it's really fun. Never tried it myself, but I want to. He was playing Balatro. And then it was at one point, I think Pouty had told me, I was like, "Oh, he's like two people down," because we're all lined up on the couch, right? He was like, "He's two people down. I can't lean over and look at him." He goes, "Oh, look." And then he shows me the phone. And it looks like Apple Maps. Like just the UI, like in the game, looks like Apple Maps. The one screenshot that I saw of, just that his phone was there. And we were all like, "Oh, ha, 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 that's kind of cool." Everyone laughed. It was like, "Oh, that is kind of funny. It does kind of look like Apple Maps." And then I actually pulled up Apple Maps on my phone and held it sideways. And yeah, it really looked like he was playing Apple Maps on his phone. That's where that quote comes from. And I believe that's everything I wanted to say. Oh, the ultrasound. Okay. Ultrasound went fine. They didn't find anything. They found nothing on the ultrasound. They've taken my blood, they've taken my breath, they've taken X-rays, they've taken an ultrasound. there's nothing wrong there, which is just confusing. Because, like, ever since I've had this problem, I've genuinely been thinking, what is wrong with me? And I don't know. I still don't know what's wrong with me. And I'm thinking, like, do I even have a stomach problem? Because it's like, whenever they say what's wrong with your stomach, I just say, I don't know. It doesn't feel, it kind of feels bad all the time, and it feels like it doesn't work properly. And I honestly don't know what to do anymore. I've been taking Pepsid. I took more Pepsid this week. Mixed results. Some days were good, some days were bad. Some days I was nauseous and I was felt like I was gonna throw up all day. I just don't know what to do anymore. I think maybe I'll like take some Tums or something. Um, Anti-nausea medication. I googled that. Yeah, it exists, but like, I don't think I can get a prescription for that or something. I have no idea how it works. And I'm like, is it like all in my head? Is it an eating disorder? And I'm like, I don't think so. Like, I'm kind of scared to be hungry, but like, and like, yeah, that sounds like an issue, but it's like, I don't feel the feeling of hunger anymore. It's just my stomach feels like empty and I feel like I need to eat or I'm gonna like starve to death immediately. And then I start eating, my stomach's like, whoa, slow down, buddy. I think you've eaten too much. And I'm like, I had like 2 bites. I don't know what you're talking about. And I end up force feeding myself. And I was like, maybe it is in my head. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's stress induced. I don't know. It didn't feel good today either. I woke up nauseous. And then that went away after a while. And then I had a smoothie, which I drank really slowly because it just felt very filling. And then like I drank it and I was like, wow, I feel super full now. And I was like, I think that's bloating. But like I don't know what to do about that. Tums? I don't know. And then like earlier today I played badminton. Goodness gracious. And then after the badminton, my stomach was like hurting and it felt bad, but I was like, I think I need food maybe. So I went to go McDonald's and then I ate most of a McRib and my stomach was like, okay, I think that's good, but like I kind of felt like I was like nauseous the whole time. So I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what's wrong with me. Thursday, I took a brief 15-minute rest between work and lessons, and it was actually quite helpful and pleasant. I was also super hyped for lessons because I took creatine beforehand. I've actually been super hyper this evening because of it. It was a nice contrast, though, because my stomach problem and residual sickness have been seriously getting to me this week. I'm also getting closer and closer to moving in with ink. And then the quote is, it's like I'm being constantly electrocuted. Yeah. Like, man. Okay, so, yeah, remember the nap goal? That may or may not exist. It's right there. Um, I didn't fall asleep. What I've noticed is that I think I can, like, rest like without falling asleep, which might sound like stupid, but it might make perfect sense. Like I said, 15-minute rest. I never fell asleep, but I got very close to falling asleep, and that did make me feel a lot better. Didn't feel like I slept, but I felt way better if I'm being honest. And like I said, I would like to try the goal of taking a nap every week, but as you can see from my week so far, I've been like just busy. Like let me recap just for my own, just to make sure I'm not tweaking. Yeah, so Monday I got home, immediately started getting ready for the movie, and then Tuesday, I was mostly just like sleeping. Wednesday, we just did Wednesday. Yeah, I went straight from the ultrasound to work to friends, so I had no time for sleeping. Thursday, I did have time for a brief 15-minute rest. And then yeah, so what else? Yeah, so like I said, I couldn't really try the nap goal because it was kind of just work and then thing and then work and then thing and then work and then thing, and that was kind of like I never really had time. Um, but Thursday I did. And yeah, so the quote, which relates to the creatine, it feels like I'm constantly being electrocuted. So I noticed after I stopped taking creatine, which is not usually on purpose, it was an accident, I just forget to take my creatine. And when I forget to take my creatine for a day or two, and then I start taking it again, I'm just like super hyped. Like I feel like it's a hype stronger than caffeine. I feel like I could box a kangaroo and win. I feel like I think my thoughts before I think my thoughts, and I can react to thinking my thoughts before I even act out my thoughts. You know what I'm saying? That's what it felt like, taking the creatine after not taking it for a while. Um, what else? Super hyped. Blah blah blah. Residual sickness. Yeah, and then oh my gosh, what is the status on my? I was gonna check, but I won't do that. Yeah, so me and Ink are closer and closer to moving in. I made several phone calls, sent several emails, contacted people, and I think we're like this close to like sealing the deal. I'm pretty sure. And was it? We've both already taken time off. We took the day off for moving day and the day after that. And she said she could get a box truck for free. No idea where she's getting that. Like, where does a girl get a box truck for free? You know what I'm saying? Like, that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense at all. There is a little more context to that, but why did my desktop audio just? Did I get a notification? Um, yeah, so I don't know where she's getting a box truck for free. But I guess we'll have that covered. And I think that was about all for Thursday. I just went to lessons. Friday. The day after work, I got ready for Ink to come over so that we could watch Wednesday. I wanted to finish the whole series, but we only got halfway through before she had to go. We also had pizza, snacks, and I'll leave that part out. So it was very fun. After that, I just did my dailies. I brought a bunch of food for lunch today because I thought I would be starving by lunchtime like I was yesterday, but I actually didn't eat a lot all day. It's confusing. And then the quote is a shared sorrow is a half sorrow. Yeah, so like I said, more just going to work, coming home, and then doing something so I don't have time to nap. Yeah, so me and Ink, we're gonna watch Wednesday. We did. We watched 2 episodes of the second half of the second season because we watched the first half of the second season when it came out, closer to her birthday. We watched like 3.5 episodes. We have, or no, it was just 3 episodes actually. So we had to finish that fourth one. Actually, she did. We had to finish it because like for her, because like I had already seen it because I was like, hey, can I watch the rest of the show? And she was like, sure. So we watched that episode again, and then we watched 2 of the new episodes. We still got 2 more to go, which we're going to watch tomorrow. But yeah, we had pizza, food, snacks, really good. I was a little nauseous, but that's just life at this point. I wish it wasn't. Anyway, did my dailies. Oh yeah, so the day before, so it would have been Thursday, I took a Pepsid. I did not eat at the 10 a.m. break like I usually did. Um, and then by the time lunch rolled around, I was like starving. I didn't really have a whole lot of food that day, which was unfortunate. I was like, okay, I'm going to take a Pepsid again. I'm going to take a Pepsid Friday. I did. Didn't eat the 10 a.m. break. Okay. Wasn't starving by lunchtime like I was yesterday. But I brought a whole bunch of food. I mean, it's not an issue because it's not, very perishable food. But like I bought a whole bunch of food just so I could take it home again. That was kind of annoying. But it's like, yeah, how come I went from like completely ravenous at lunchtime yesterday to today not even hungry? Like I think I had a sandwich and half a Cliff Bar, and that was it. That was all I could eat. Well, the day before it was like it was a sandwich, it was chips, it was this, it was that, and I was still not even full by the end of that. So I have no idea what's going on with my stomach. Or like, is it even my stomach? I'm pretty. It feels like it's all in my stomach, which is why I don't think it's acid reflux, or IBS, because it is just in my stomach. But the X-rays found nothing. The blood tests found nothing. They didn't. They don't look at your stomach or your bowels really. In the ultrasound, they just looked at some of the like upper organs, and there was nothing wrong there. Oh boy. Yeah, so that's annoying. Um, and then the quote, "A shared sorrow is a half sorrow." So as you guys know, I've got a friend Pouty. We are technically engaged in journal wars, which is where every day we do a journal entry and then we send it to each other. A lot of hers are sad, which is where she gets her nickname. I wouldn't say she's not usually pouty like in person. She is sometimes, but like her journal entries are usually very sad. And she was, I think, in one of her journal entries, she said that she feels bad for writing just I feel bad all the time. And I was like, no, it's fine. That's what the journal's for. It's for sharing stuff with the journal. And then I had talked to her and I had brought up that quote. That's actually a real quote. I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 99% sure it's a real quote from someone, somewhere, at some time on Earth. Um, yeah, a shared sorrow is a half sorrow, which means you don't feel as bad, personally when you share your problems with people. I will not be sharing my sorrows. Okay, they're all mine. You can't have them. Um, that's only partially rhetorical. Saturday, I felt a bit lost today. I didn't have any pressing issues or any obligations, so I didn't really know what to do. I went to the mall to get a Christmas present for a friend, but they didn't have it in stock, so that was a whole ordeal. I really should have worked on my portfolio, and I did want to, but I didn't feel like it. So I'll leave that for tomorrow, which I didn't do today either. Um, the weather was also super nice today, but all my friends were busy, so I didn't get to enjoy it. And the quote is, I have 9 friends, which is honestly kind of like miraculous. Because, like, was it? I know, apparently, we're in like a. Or wait, is it? No, yeah, so there's a male loneliness epidemic, which means men are lonely. And I was like, yeah, I do feel lonely sometimes, even though I guess I feel like I shouldn't, because like I said, I do have 9 friends. Earlier in the year, that number was at 11, which is like crazy. Like once I had 11 friends, I was like, oh, that's kind of like, that's almost too many friends if I'm being honest. Um, and like, of course, they're not all like the same in the sense that like I'm not gonna do one thing with this friend. Actually, I don't really know how to put this. Um, but like, I don't. I think it's. I think. How should I say this? Uh, I don't know how I can say this. I'm trying to find the exact right way to articulate it, but I can't. So I'm just gonna say a less articulated way, which is like I don't feel the same towards all of them. That's I don't think it would be quite right to say they aren't all equal, but it's like that's kind of the closest I can get to describing it, right? Like I'm closer with some than I am with others, and then like there's one like Noir, I am hardly close with at all. We were friends for like, or no, we've been friends technically for 3 years, and we know a lot about each other. But like nowadays, I honestly I cannot think of even a hypothetical situation where we see each other in person again. Because she's got a boyfriend and a job, and that's pretty much all a straight person needs. That'll keep her busy forever. She takes days to respond to my text sometimes on our snap streak. Sometimes she'll take a day on that. So it's like very obvious that I'm just not really a part of her life at all, which is fine. Uh, Cause like it's kind of always been like that. Like she never wanted me to meet any of her friends. I never met her boyfriend, who she was kind of on and off with for a while. I don't even haven't met her current boyfriend either. Um, so it's like, can you even say we're friends if I'm probably never gonna see each other again, and like I'm not gonna reach out to her, and I doubt she'll reach out to me, because like yeah, like we're not on bad terms by any means, but it's just like can you say we're friends? My point is, you could make arguments to say that I'm not. I don't have 9 friends. I don't know why it took so long to say that. I don't even know where I was going with that. Point is, I have 9 friends. It's kind of a lot. Kind of cool. Um, yeah, and I remember. Actually, I won't get into that. That'll take way too long to explain. Okay, so I believe that leads us to today. I don't think there's much left to talk about on Saturday. Let me check. Pressing issues, blah blah blah, boring, portfolio, Christmas present, friends, nice weather. Okay, so that leads us to today. Today, woke up, nauseous as usual. Skipped church. Wanted to go to church, didn't, because I woke up at 9, and I was like, okay, it's 9 a.m., time to get up. My body was like, nope, you're going to sleep for another hour. So then I did. Woke up at 10. I'm like, okay, gotta leave in 45 minutes. That's doable. Gotta like make a smoothie. I'll be fine. I was like, wait, do I want to work out afterward? And wait, the weather's nice. Do I want to play badminton with my friends? And also, I've got skating later, ice skating, with coworkers. I was like, shoot. So I couldn't figure out how to plan my day, because like I wanted to do like all those things, but I could only do like one or two, or maybe a couple. I guess maybe I technically could have done all of them. No, yes, yeah, probably actually. If I ate, went to church, worked out, played badminton, and then went ice skating, I would have done all that. Ended up back here, but I was nauseous in the morning, so I didn't eat. And then like my roommate and sister was in the kitchen cleaning because she's leaving today, or she left today. I think she's already gone. So I didn't want to make a smoothie while she was in there cleaning. So now it's like 10:45, and it's like, oh man, I'm gonna be late for church. I want to go to church, but I should eat before church, but like that takes time, and I don't want to be late. But I guess I could be late because I'm kind of late all the time. So maybe I'll eat and then go to church and then go to the gym. But also, I told my friend yesterday, I told Parkour yesterday that we could play badminton today, and then he was asleep until like almost noon. So like I just kept holding out hope. I mean like because like I didn't want to be like, oh sorry, I made plans because you didn't respond in time, which is a fine thing to do. I think it's just that I don't like doing it. Um, like there's no issue with that. I think that's fairly reasonable. Because like I think I texted him like I think it took him like 4 hours to respond. Like overall. Um, yeah, I totally lost my train of thought. Yeah, so I ended up not going to church, and then I did go to badminton with him. More, I wanted more friends, but they were all busy. So we said no church, and then badminton, and then we got McDonald's after badminton, and then I came back and showered. Then I went to ice skating with coworkers. That was a lot of fun. I was where I was at before here, and now we're back here. Yay! I think I'm about 10 minutes over as usual. I try and keep it like, actually, I guess the ideal time I think is 20 minutes because that's like an episode of something. Um, and I guess there are technically 30, 40, 50 minute episodes. But yeah, I just try and keep it to 30 so that I have time to do things. I still need to finish practicing piano. I do not have time to practice guitar. But as long as I get one instrument, I'll be good. I've got two practices on, or I got one practice on each instrument yesterday. So I can miss practicing one of them today, which I'm gonna do. I still gotta make lunch for tomorrow, and brush my teeth, and do my little handwriting book, uh, and then I think I'm good. Yeah, I really do. I do like. I've noticed that I am kind of like stagnating. I don't know if that's the right word, or like slowing down, or just kind of like cruising or like coasting, with the goal specifically. Because I've been like, man, there's been like no like fun goals up there. And I mean like the portfolio goal is pretty fun if I had anything to report about on it. But it's like, guys, making music is not easy. I'm not. I've said this before. I do not consider myself a creative person. Um, I just don't. I just don't feel. I don't feel very creative if I'm being honest. So it's like if you said make a song, I'd be like, how? Like what do you want? I need more than that. You know what I'm saying? I can't just make a song. I've got a couple ideas, but like it's like a process. Like if I want like I've got this one song I made. I'm like, okay, I need a guitar, acoustic guitar. Got to pick chords. Got to make a strumming pattern. Chord changes. I could do picking. I could do strumming. I could do both. I could do major chords, minor chords, bar chords, no bar chords, open strings, whatever. And then I've got to record that, right? So I've got to record that so I've got to play it, and then I've got to record it with the Mac and a microphone, and then that's just the acoustic guitar. Then I've got to add some melody guitar, depending on how melodical the acoustic guitar was. So I've got my rhythm guitar, then I got to get my melody guitar, and I got my piano, so I got to get the piano in there, and I got to get the bass in there, and then I probably got to get the vocals in there, so I got to get the bass, the vocals, the guitar, and the piano, and then the drumming, which I don't even know how to play drums, but I've got the one in the DAW in GarageBand that I can use, and I can like, okay, so once you put the drummer in there, it's gonna start playing, and then you got to adjust. Do you want it louder here, or quiet here? Do you want it playing this, or that? And then I gotta play the chords on the piano. I got to make melody on the piano. I got to make melody on the guitar. I got to figure out the strumming pattern. Then I gotta do the thing and the thing. And like I need a bass. I don't have a bass. I'm gonna use a bass. I'm gonna use some kind of synthesizer like one in the DAW. And then I gotta make the bass pattern because I could just do like 1, 2, 3, 4, but that's boring. I don't want to do that. I want to make something that's boring. I want to make something that's good. I want to make something that I'm actually gonna be like, hey guys, look at this. I made this. I don't want to make something that I don't like. I want to make things that I like. Because like if I make 4 songs that are bad and I put them in the portfolio, it's like I'll feel good that I did it, but I'll feel bad because it's like that's not what I wanted. So yeah. Um, I think we're good. Yap sessions. I have been wanting to make more of those. I've been wanting to talk about stuff. Um, but I think that's everything for this week. Thank you all for watching. I will see you all next time. Bye.